Hello, Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine here with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro, as always, Myrick Coyle. And we have got world champion, national champion, Tyler Miller. What's up, Tyler?
How's it going, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. It's good to have you on. It's been a little while, bud.
Yeah, a few years. I was kind of feeling left out in the dark here a little bit, but you guys have had a lot of good guests on, so it's cool to watch, cool to see.
Yeah. So what do you know, Ray? What have you been up to?
It's been busy.
Traveling?
A little bit. Went to Bradenton for the F1 IHRA F1 boat series there.
I watched some of that, and I watched I think the F1 stuff, and then I'm gonna screw it up. The Texas Tri-Hulls. Is that what it is? Yeah, and I always get a kick out of watching those guys run over each other's cages and all that.
Those guys are awesome, man. They call themselves the bumper cars of boat racing.
And win his first heat race ever.
Uh-oh. A lot of boats in that second corner.
Oh, look how Preston Sherman goes over the 93 of JB Jensen.
Over the top of JB's motor.
Yeah.
They do an awesome job.
Yeah,
Fun to watch. Fun to watch.
And I thought Tim Siebold, and I don't know who his counterpart was, did a great job announcing the F1 race. So that was cool.
Yeah, Tommy Yarbrough. They do a bang up job. They've been doing it for so long. They just kind of feed off one another. You know, they kind of like know what the other one's going to say, and they're kind of on the same wavelength. So they do a great job together.
I watched that one F1 boat go into the corner a bunch of times, and I didn't know whether the engine broke off or whether the transom broke first. You know, how it hooked in that. I don't know what turn it was, but it was to the right. As the camera panned to the right, it like kind of hooked into a turner. And then next thing you're like, oh shit. And then next thing you know, the motor's gone. So I don't know. Kind of looked like the transom had broke or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get a report on what exactly happened yet, but that outboard went to the bottom of the ocean there, or the river, whatever it is.
That was one of the nice things back in the day. We had mechanical indicator cables and all cables and stuff that would hold them on. Now you got a DTS network cable that, like a phone line, that just rips off and the motor goes to the bottom.
Scooping it up off the bottom for sure at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure that lake wasn't very deep.
Well, speaking of busy off seasons, Tyler, you've had one heck of one. What's been going on in your world?
Oh my, yeah. It's been a long one for sure. Ready to get back after it in March. Kick off the first race, but we've been building boats in the background here. Getting the Class 1 finished up at Skater. Actually got to Myrick 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have three solid days of rigging. Jake and I on 2 of the days, and then Jake and I on or 3 of the days, and then Jake and I on the other 2, because Greg was being Grandpa Greg. That's what we call him when he has to take a day off to go see the new grandbabies, because he got a new grandbaby in Wisconsin. But Jake is and Jake's a new daddy last week. So
Congrats to both those guys.
I'm glad everybody else is having kids.
Amen. Amen.
Because Tyler and I have already done our I don't know, damage.
Yeah, hell, I'm a grandpa now, so the dad phase is long gone. Long gone.
But we've been drilling holes. I mean, Jake has got, I actually sent a video to the group today, and Jake is in the boat and smoke's rolling, and because of all of the Kevlar that is in a Skater, and you start drilling in that Kevlar, and it's some nasty stuff. And that's cool though. You got to finally get to see like progress on the mechanical end. We've seen progress on the fiberglass end from Pete and all his guys up there that have been doing all the work. Ross actually set the engines in, and he's a really good rigging guy. And Mike Verhoff, them guys are great to work with, and just start to get to see. We've been working a lot. So Tyler said, make the inside of this cockpit like, I think he said Mercedes or something like that. And so, yeah,
it's due. It's well due,
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get a fresh look. And we actually, when we were talking to Skater, we said just leave the cockpit blank. Don't paint it. Don't do anything. Um, and that's just so we could get it back to the lake, and Myrick could go to town and just do a bunch of unique off the wall stuff that has never been done.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about with this boat. Obviously, it's one of a kind, and a lot of thought, a lot of effort went into it out of everybody behind the scenes to make this new model. And so we want to do the same with the cockpit, make it
Yeah.
something that hasn't been seen.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of limitations with the rules as far as the mercury stuff. So we basically hook the fuel, the water, and the power to it, and all the communications, and then from there drive shaft, and all that. So it's not like a Super Cat to where you're trying to get creative with all that. So at that point we can start spending time on other stuff. And to be honest with you, the boat came in and it was sitting on the 438 trailer. It's how we transported it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's tiny. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
I actually put a piece of little green tape on it because everybody asks, like, how much bigger is it than a 438 or a 388? And I said, well, here, I'll just put a piece of tape on there. That way I can just say, let's go around the side and look at the green tape. That's a 388, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, he sent it to me. He sent the green tape picture to me. I'm like, it looks fast. Looks good and fast. I'm good.
So what is the actual size of it that you guys are calling it?
Well, Skater
Yeah.
calls it a 418, I think.
418.
Yeah. And I've argued with him. I'm calling it a 398 race. So we'll see what the MSO says on it, But
yeah.
Basically it's like 2 inches over the class minimum for running length.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure it was
the class
just
minimum
enough.
is 30.
Yeah.
Well, when you do the metric to statute conversion, it's like 39.44, which is, when you translate that, it's like 39.4, 39.5. So he made it so there wouldn't be any question. He made it a couple inches longer than that, so people aren't in the pits complaining about the boat being too small. So
Yeah.
it could be shorter, basically.
Yeah.
to meet the rules, but just to not put it right on the thing, and our love for the 388 is what spawned this boat, basically.
Yeah. And then based off the last one, you guys know that one like literally like the backs of your hands, because you guys have wrenched on it and tooled it and adjusted it.
And had multiple boats
Mhm.
that were very similar.
Right. Did those go into the design of this? Was Pete open to listening to what you guys had to say and go that route?
100%.
Nice.
When I talked to him 2 or 3 times leading up to it, I'll never forget. He finally looked at me when I said, I think we want to do this. I think we want to do that. And what do you think? And he said, you've been in enough of them now. Just tell me what you want and I'll do it. And I'm like, wow, that was a big egg to crack. So, but yeah, he did. And, man, it turned out awesome. And honestly, this is something that Myrick talked about when we built the 438. Like, man, wouldn't a stretch 388 just be awesome, But at that moment in time, it's like, hey, this is what fits, this is what works.
Yeah.
And so yeah, here we are going through it again. And
not that the 438 is bad, but this class, you're looking for a half a second, It's like, and the 438 with the surface drives and the rudder and all that was just a learning curve. And then once we got all that stuff off there, we got way quicker. So just something that we're used to and we like.
Yeah.
And not to mention all the other competition that's joined the class. It's definitely getting stiff.
Yeah. I was actually told, I was talking to a customer today who wanted me to fix a windshield on his 388. Oh man, I'm going to forget his name. Kyle something, I think, or Kevin, or anyway.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. So I was talking to him about his 388 and he goes, I go, so what are you wanting to do with it after you're done? I go, are you from the lake? And he goes, no, I just want to sell it. He's like, yeah, to be honest with you, you're probably going to hear it pretty soon that, I teamed with Rick Lindsay and I'm in a boat racing against you. He goes, you think we'll be friends? I go, well, we'll be friends or enemies, one way or the other. But really nice guy to talk to, and it was just funny to be talking about his pleasure boat, and then and then he spilt the beans to me basically, and then basically I pulled up Facebook or Instagram or something tonight, and then saw the article that coming out showing that Billy Moore and you said Kevin
Burrell,
yeah,
he just released that story today.
Yeah, I saved his name in the phone, but it's so many names, I'm bad.
Yeah.
It says 388 windshield behind his name. That's how I always do it. Everybody's. So then I can just say, oh, yeah, 388 windshield. Oh, yeah, Kevin. Yeah.
It's funny because I met him for the first time last year in Baltimore at the poker run out there. And we were at a lunch stop, and his 388 is called Out of Pocket, and that's what their race team is called now, Out of Pocket Racing, with X Insurance. And I go, why is it called Out of Pocket? And he tells me, he goes, because my friends say that I always say out of pocket shit out of nowhere. So it's just went. I named his whole race team that. So, and then tapping Billy Moore, that's a strong get, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
One of the better ones.
Yeah.
We always get along good with Billy, whether it's in the pits or whether it's via text. We always, Tyler and him and I always have good camaraderie and good conversation.
Yeah, the legend. That's what I like to call him, the legend.
Yeah. I always wish I would have known his dad. I've always, seen and heard stories and stuff like that. And then stories from Johnny talking about Billy growing up around T and kind of that area, and, hearing all the stories about that. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited for them guys. I mean, we'll see if he can make that X South boat run like DeFalco.
Yeah.
Hope not.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. No, it's going to be awesome to have, fill the fleet up. That's the big thing, Class 1 is, and if you can get 8 to 10 boats out there running, it's a hell of a show for the fans and, sponsors, everybody. It's what you want. So
for sure.
I was excited to see it, back in action that quick. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, the 50 Mystic will be back. Dave Scott's old one. Man. And then
Rich Wyatt will be back.
Oh, he will? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we talked to him a week or so ago, and he said 50-50 on the first race, but from then on he'll be around. So
for the full schedule.
This first race is getting a lot of people like, oh shit, not used to a March race.
March, yeah. Including us.
Right.
Yeah. Good thing we got the old girl.
Second place in the world. Boat set ready to go. So
that's right.
A few adjustments make it first.
So Boy's working on her tonight.
Is the plan to get the new boat ready for St. Pete, or are you guys holding off?
You couldn't do. I mean, it would just be bolted together. Right. I think it was at the time it showed up. It was like 17 days or something like that.
Yeah.
So from the time of the race, not even the time it would have to leave. Right. So at that point, it's.
And you can't get
make it. Yeah, I mean,
you can't get a Mercedes cockpit in that short of time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He could, but he wouldn't be at home for the next 15 days.
Missy would be upset.
Yeah.
Now Missy would be happy.
What I've learned in these last couple boat builds is when they're under the gun, like they've been for both of them, like if you have the ability to just let the rigging job take its course, everybody's so much happier. You don't run against the wall. Everybody's got a life and a family, and you want to make sure that it's perfect. So take the time. We're fortunate enough to have a boat that is, it's won multiple races. We fell just short at Key West. That was my bad on a setup call, and we know we've got something we can go out and bring home checkered flags with. So let's take our time and get this other one just right and go get it done.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is probably, with IHRA coming in and with, the new boat, 2026 is going to be awesome. And then you want to release the other big news that nobody knows about yet, Tyler?
Is this a segue? Is this a segue into that?
That's you up, bro. Like you set me up for the turns. I'm setting you up
Right,
for the.
There it is.
right.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. So, Randy and Taylor last season introduced us for a couple races to their factory stock class. We ran the successful back-to-back first place series at Lake of the Ozarks, and then took their boat to Michigan City, and we're battling for first, and had a mechanical issue that took us out of the race, and then decided to just go back to focusing on the class one from there. But all along the way, Myrick and I kept talking, and Lindsay and the entire race family, about two boats and what that looked like again. We'd been a whole, I don't know what, 48 hours without running two boats, basically, if you will. And so, yeah, we had a lot of talks along the way, and Randy does a very good job at selling his product, obviously. And so we spent some time reflecting, and Lindsay and I don't know, the month of January, 8 or 10 days back and forth with Randy, just trying to get things right and make sure it worked, and then making sure Myrick was on board. So yeah, we'll be in the factory stock group come Cocoa Beach with a
Wow. That's awesome.
nicely branded boat, and super
Cocoa
excited.
Beach,
And yeah, one of the things that really, obviously, the boat, the Mercury power behind it, the MTI family,
Yeah.
but throughout the off season,
Performance MTI connection.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
all there. I mean, if you put it all together, it's like, it's the brand that Myrick sells. It's the brand that Myrick, spends a lot of time in, and then just the Mercury power is kind of what has really altered my thoughts,
Yeah.
over the last little bit. But they decided in the off season to allow open exhaust. Mercury created a part number and putting out open exhaust, so those 500s they'll
They're
sound
gonna
like
sound
something now.
pain.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
That'll add a lot. I mean, I don't necessarily get to hear it all the time, but I'm excited even for the 300 class or the
yeah,
stock class, because it is one thing when they go by and it's, but when you're going to hear 7,000 RPMs on two V8s, it's going to be, well, actually 6,650 on the 500. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
about it.
Well, that's
yeah.
exciting.
So
Congratulations,
that's
guys.
the release. There we go.
Boom.
You heard it here first. Breaking news. Well,
Yeah,
Tyler, you
so
and I were. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you and I were talking before Myro came on, and boy, Randy getting you guys to sub for Taylor last season. He's no dummy, man. That was very well played.
yeah,
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
And we had a blast in it, and
Yeah,
winning
it
didn't
was.
hurt anything either. I mean, we
Right.
I tell you what, those boats look like they're just gliding across the water, but you have to drive and throttle. You are racing that thing from the green flag to the checker. It
Yeah.
is, they're exhilarating, and they're a handful. They're a lot of fun. So
First time we got in it, Tyler started grabbing trim buttons just like like we would on the class one or the Supercat where the water pickups are on the boat, and it's he's like, "What was that?" I was like, "Overheat." He's like, you can't do that. He's like, "Well, but it feels better." I'm like, "Yeah, we can't do that."
you got to find the limits, right? You got to just get
And
out
it
there,
was like literally
find the limits.
100 yards in. Limit
And the whole
found.
time, Randy's listening into the headset as we're running, and it's beep, beep. I'm thinking, oh man, I bet he's thinking, what have I put in the cockpit of this boat?
Yeah,
But then by about lap 3, we had it figured out, and we were
we were
running
putting
kind of the
down-
same times as everybody else. So
Yeah, we were. It was we had like three or four of them out there testing all at the same time, and
Was
it's
it
cool.
lake racing?
That is a cool part of the whole deal too, with his white glove service and all that you do get to share. I mean, not necessarily exact lap times or something, but it's a team aspect in the team MTI.
Oh yeah, they go out
Yeah.
there and do some extensive testing with one another and learn the courses and track everything down for speeds and such. So it's cool. And that I that was when I think Randy said, listening to you guys on the comms, that between the two of you was the most talkative and the most communicative he's ever heard between a pair in a race boat.
You know,
That's
that
quite the
was one
compliment.
of the nicest things I've probably ever heard somebody say about us together, Tyler and I.
Yeah.
And, you know, a professional that's heard it all and listened to a lot of people. I always like, one day when I'm 80 years old or something, I'm going to think back and, you know, I was like, that was pretty cool. Randy Sism telling us how good we were in a boat together. So,
Yeah, yeah. Guy's been all around the world, and he's raced everywhere, and
No
it
question.
was very humbling. It was very
yeah,
humbling. It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
So Tyler, what I mean, I've heard Myrick's version of it, but why don't you walk us through what you guys actually say to each other when you're in the heat of a race? Like, what is the communication that
Other
goes
than
back
oh shit.
and nice fucking shoes?
Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
shoes.
yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Fucking shoes look good.
No, you know, so I think we're kind of devil's advocate to each other, you know? I mean, we both know the fine line of the boat, and you have to push it to its limits. I mean, the classes are just so competitive and so equally matched when you get the Mercury power. Um, you know, it's anybody's race, and the guy that's willing to push it as hard as he possibly can and find that fine line, um, typically is going to be your winner if he has his setup right. And so, you know, in the past, it's been Myrick always, you know, calming me down, make sure, you know, because I'd get sick in the milling circle and all those things. And I'll never forget in Key West, I think it was during the first race this year, or it's real recent, and he was getting jacked up and he was ready to go, and we were kind of coming out of the milling circle, and I'm like, all right, buddy, we're good. Let's just go do our thing. Let's just go get it done. It's just a nice boat ride, you know. And he's like, when did you become the voice of reason, or the or it was something better than that. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly what he said,
Yeah.
but he's
I
like,
got her.
it
Yeah.
was, yeah, but it was
Yeah.
epic. And I started laughing. I'm like, holy shit, you know, this, but no, you know, going out to turn one, no matter where we're at, um, typically we're pretty quiet. And that
Yeah.
first that first half mile to a mile, because in your mind you're just thinking, okay, where's everybody at? How do we match up? Um, do we have the boat to compete?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get to turn one, it's game on. And you know, and we do talk a lot, and especially like in the factory stock boat that Randy was referring to. Um, you are constantly talking about water pressure and angle of attack and where the boat's riding and the tunnel tab and how it's floating around and the wind on the, you know, Myrick's always looking way out in front. There's some wind coming, you know, tuck it in a couple, just so you don't have any issues. And no, I mean, there's times I get a little bit uh, over anxious, and I don't know. I think this year was the first time I got out of the boat and Missy and Lindsay were on the shore and were like, "Don't ever act like that again." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And we weren't we I guess we were yelling at each other. It didn't feel like it in the boat, but it's loud in there, you know, so you got to talk loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know, we were competing so hard with I don't remember, was it in Key West or where was it,
Yeah.
Myrick?
I think it was day one.
Day one, we were competing
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hard with
Yeah.
DeFalco, and then we
DeFalco,
had,
yeah.
yeah,
And
then we had a
it
boat
was, it was
rear.
literally, yeah. We had gotten around a couple laps. We always say, you know, it's can't win on Wednesday, you know, for the whole thing. But, you know, once you get out there and it's like the two boats leave the pack and it's like, man, we got to get these guys or they're going to have one on us. And then they're going to have another one on us on Friday, you know, so you're just like, let's go for it. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, it's he's right about the factory stock too. And I'm watching the wind a lot more than that. But I think when we're together in the boat, you know, I give him a lot of information and whether he uses it or not, which most of the time he does, you know, it or he at least tells me. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but there's times, you know, I'll glance at the trim gauge and I'll like tighten it up. He'll like down one and I'll look. And I'll look. Oh, shit.
We're coming to the turn. He's like, "Is the tab up?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's up. It's up. You're good. You're good." And I'm like, "Oh shit, the tab isn't up yet. I better get that thing up."
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
run it all the way to the pin, and
Yeah.
and that's from a throttleman's perspective. That's what you want. Keep it hot as long as you can. From a
Sure.
driver's
Yeah.
perspective, it's like, "Hey, settle me down here a little bit. I got nothing. I
Right.
can't turn the boat." So,
Yeah.
Especially
after
into the
I
wind.
don't know, yeah, after 4 or
Right.
5 years of racing with Myrick and running pleasure boats with him, I know when it's okay. Now it's really time. Like I'll tell him from time to time, like, "Sorry, bud, I ran that one a little hot and a little too
Mhm.
long." I'm not
Yeah,
afraid
we
to
do that.
admit when I screw
Yeah.
shit up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but lot of communication, a lot of conversation, and that to me, I feel is probably, and then hearing it from Randy is something that puts us a little bit above a lot. If a guy like Randy who's raced for 30 or 40 years had never heard that much communication in the cockpit, that tells me that we're getting all we can out of the boat, and from a driver throttleman's perspective, and
Yeah.
we're
Most of the
constantly talking.
Like 99% of the time, I feel that we ran the boat as hard as we could.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. I agree.
and that's the way that you have to. I mean, and there's other teams out there that are as good as us, but
Sure.
when Tyler was telling us about telling me about the 500 factory 500 boat, he's like, this is such a competitive class, and he goes, with us in the boat, he goes, I'm very confident. So that was one of his deciding factors. And
Nice.
I love that because, I feel sorry for the guys that are coming into the class that have that learning curve to, their boat might be faster, at the point, but when it comes down to it, the crew in the boat can make up for a boat being a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Wanted to thank Monster Energy for sponsoring the podcast, the Boats and Bros podcast, and really excited about it. How about you, Myrick?
I'm excited as hell. Monster Energy. I just had 2 of them, man. I'm all jacked up.
Me
This stuff's awesome. Yeah.
These
I ain't gonna be able to sleep tonight because this is 9 o'clock at night after our boats. Missy's rolling her eyes and shaking her head at me. Anyway, yeah, big. Being with Monster Energy is an awesome deal. Been fortunate enough to be sponsored by them with boat racing for the last 2 or 3 years, and now to have them on the Boats and Bros podcast. I really do love that sugar-free stuff, and when we're working late nights and when we're doing all this other stuff, it's awesome to be part of the Monster Energy family and drink their product. So, go Monster Energy!
go. Cheers. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, like, to my question previously about, asking Pete to mess with his design, have you put any input with Randy on how you would like the factory stock boat to be set up? Or did
Yeah, everything that I came up with, he goes, "That's against the rules," and I'm like, I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
because it has to come out of a factory mold. I was like putting this big long text together, and if you know me, it's not big long texts aren't Myrick's forte. And I get this all together, and he goes, and I sent it to Randy and Tyler in like a group thing. It's like, yeah, here, this is gonna be awesome. Next thing you know, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay.
I think
well,
he said factory stock. It's got to be factory stock. Like that's what factory means. I'm like,
Yeah.
And I kind of pumped Myrick up for that. I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, this. I'm like, yeah, we need to tell him that. We need to get that out there. Let him be the guy.
put it in the long
Factory, Yeah.
put a text together so he can slam you and say that can't work. It's like it's similar to going to lunch with Pete. Well, not this particular boat, but going to lunch with Pete on previous boats and be like, "How about this? Yeah, that's dumb." And you're like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
but obviously you think that it's dumb. But what can we do about it? We got Cam coming in.
What's up, Cam?
He's saying hello.
How are you, buddy?
Tyler's saying hi.
Hi.
You see all them animals
happening?
behind him?
Heck
Weird,
yeah.
huh? Like watching the show.
Yeah, he is. He's coming on in. getting big.
Yeah,
He's
he is.
within 2 pounds of his 11-year-old brother. So 7-year-old and 11-year-old. He's
Wow.
75
That's
point
crazy.
something, and Jax is 77. So I always tell Jax, you better be nice to him, bro.
Right.
One
yeah.
of these days. Yeah.
Yeah, weren't they wrestling in the background last time we?
God.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
Brotherly love.
And then
Yeah.
all the bells and whistles inside the cockpit that Randy likes to do with the Hendrick stuff, and
Yeah.
Actually, we're not doing the Hendrix stuff because I weigh so much. You know, you try to keep them things as light as humanly possible. I mean, that's one of the key factors. And when you do, you know, the factory stock per se, it's so close on weight that I like to be able to move the weight around instead of it being in a fixed position. So we're doing a suspension style seat, but it's not the full blown Hendrix seat.
Yeah,
But,
and
yeah.
if you've ever seen the seats that they had, that what you call the Hendrix seat, it's around. It's obviously probably way safer on the whole crash
Yeah.
thing, but when it comes to getting out of it, I've sat in Willie's boat before, and it was actually Grant's seat, so it wasn't meant for me, but so it was tight. But I was like, oh my God, I'm getting claustrophobic, and me being a guy that's used to race boats,
yeah,
I don't get claustrophobic easy, and when that thing's wrapped around you and you're like, whew, imagine this thing upside down filling with water, could I do it? And
Yeah.
at that point,
Yeah.
and that's what a lot's going into the I was in it today, and I didn't have a seat in there, but worried about sharp edges, worried about, places that you can gain an inch or two, because Tyler's a big guy at 6'4", I think. And, getting rotated around to get out that escape hatch, you got to pay attention to it now and not afterwards. And in our class one now, it was another one of those time restraint things that, there's a lot of stuff bolted in to where it could have been glassed in. That's going to be, it'll be way softer, I don't know if it's more roomy, but it'll be, I think easier to rotate in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get to think about two boats, but
and then
MTI's rigging the other boat. So
okay.
And
so it'll come to you mostly done.
All done.
It'll be done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Adrian Barrett's our crew chief, and
yeah, that's what I heard that.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
What's
Adrian's great.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the class having a bunch of boats in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Connor's.
Colin.
Yeah, yep. Colin's going to be one of the techs on it. So, Colin Handy.
Very cool.
And they've gelled well. Like the first two races we ran it, they gelled super well with Jake and Craig and Pal and Dave and everybody,
Yeah,
and so
and Adrian stayed with the boat and then crewed Chad and Rusty in Key West, and they won.
Adrian definitely knows those MTIs because he's been working on with Randy and his crew for a lot of years, like you said, with Chad and Rusty, and then before that Willie. He was with Willie and in his boats, and
then all the DeFreeze boats and all that. So
got quite the pedigree. So congratulations on getting a West Coaster out with you guys.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, super excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and you guys just the single boat. You guys just had too much downtime, right? You guys needed to be in race boats more often.
Well, I mean, you're there.
Getting any younger.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for me, it started off. I'm like, man, this is super nice. You can chill a little bit. You're not all rambunctious and worried about one over the other. But honestly, once we ran the second Mercury boat from a Mercury perspective, it's like, oh shit, this isn't that bad. Like, and not taking anything out of the 10 years of Supercat that we ran. It's just, it's a lot, with the naturally aspirated carbureted engines and all that goes into those things. I mean, and you better be testing it every second you can, like any boat, but especially, a carbureted engine. at the different elevations and stuff like that. So this one kind of made it to where we could just, go racing. And
Yeah, longevity of the engine obviously is a lot longer than a Super Cat, so that would come into play on a decision, and then overall competitiveness of the class and knowing that everybody has the same power. That's big to me. I mean, I love to know that we won because our setup and our talent over, hey, we made more power. So
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So will that boat also fall under the Monster Energy umbrella for you guys?
So Monster is spent some time with the Monster group visiting about it and kind of what it looked like. It's going to be 50% be co-sponsored Monster, and we'll get you some pictures and unveil the other part, which is another story in itself.
Shoot.
pretty cool to bring to light. The original thought was all Monster, and as you guys know, Dave, pretty well now. One of the conversations he had was like, I want to make sure that the main spotlight is on the Class 1 boat, and he said, if you've got anybody, willing to co-sponsor, which I did have at the time, he said that'd be really cool. He said, we love the team, we want to be involved, but I want to make sure that it fits the stable that he was after, and he wants the Class 1 to be the showstopper, 100% Monster, and yeah. So this one will have some white and some red back in it, like the picture behind you there. And
very nice.
Yeah, so it'll be a nice story on the sponsor, and he's super pumped, super excited.
That's awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait to break it for you.
We'll get some news to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, this for you guys must be like Christmas in March, right? I mean, you've got a new boat coming or just arrived, and then the season's about to start, and then a second boat about to come. Are you just busting at the seams?
I'm sure Myrick is rigging on them, but I've just been focused right now on work and just trying to get we've had an open January, an open February. March has started off great at MCon. So man, when you get warm climate in the Midwest in the middle of the winter and you're able to work, that's been where all my focus has been. These guys have keep me updated on pictures and what's going on, and I respond as I can, but number one right now is digging in the dirt and making sure that part keeps going. So we're only 3 weeks away. That's why I told Myrick the other day, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to come down. We're gonna need to test and do some different things, and I'd like to spend a couple 2 or 3 days just throwing parts at these guys and turning wrenches if I can, just to have a little bit of part of this thing. But yeah, sometimes you gotta just stop and reflect a little bit and say, holy shit, look at what's going on here, so it's very humbling and super excited. The team's jazzed up this year. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to say the least.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I've always admired about you, Tyler. As long as I've known you, you've never been one to be like the owner guy. You're always down in the trenches with everybody, turning wrenches and burning the midnight oil as late as the rest of the guys are. And hats off to you for that. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have any
it's
other way.
rare that that he leaves before everybody else. So
Yeah.
I think work's like that a lot for him too. Like, cause
Yeah, I think there was 3 people left in the office tonight before I came home to jump on this. I'm like, damn it, I pride myself in being the last guy out of here, the last guy to shut the lights off and leave the parking lot. But I'm like, I gotta go. See you later. See you tomorrow. So, but yeah,
Well, you can blame it on Myrick.
I'll take the
hell
blame.
yeah.
I'll take the blame. Yeah. And for you, the people that don't know, Tyler, MCon Construction, and when he says an open year, he's talking about weather, because up there, it could be the frozen tundra, and man, you dodged a bullet, I guess you would say, for the winter of 25-26 winter.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
when we talk, it's a lot like that. It's like So what's up? Well, weather's good. I gotta stay at it.
Yeah.
Keep my
Yeah.
guys rolling.
Yeah. And we're so blessed to have an amazing group at MCON. The guys, the gals, I mean, 140 plus employees, and they just grind every day. So to have an open winter for those guys, I mean, everybody's in good spirits, good attitude, getting to work, not sitting along the sidelines watching the snow or whatever like we would normally be doing right now. So,
Yeah.
none of this is possible without all those guys too. And
Exactly.
it's pretty awesome. They all engage in it. And I had one text me tonight, like, did the new boat make it? And I said, yeah, Myrick's got it at his shop. He's rigging it. He's like, man, I can't wait to see it. So he's a truck driver for us. So that's pretty cool.
I was actually went up and we were grabbing parts off the shelf on, I think it was Monday morning, and Craig and Dave were in the shop working. And then I walked in there and there was an MCON truck outside that I didn't recognize. And there was a mechanic in there working on one of the MCON trucks, the sport chassis. And he had his computer plugged in and he was working away on something to do with the DEF system or something like that. But I was like, wow, it's pretty wild that, there's in-house guys that are working on his stuff. But then I got thinking, I was like, there's 400 pieces of equipment or something like that they got to keep running back in Kansas. I just don't see that part of it, like they see it all the time.
Yeah. Full-time
A
job.
couple boats were going, let alone.
Yeah, just think how I tear that shit up, and you know what's going on back here. Times 400, crazy.
That's wild. So, in my instructions on getting on the podcast, I always put put something interesting in your background, and I've got to say, you've got probably one of the most interesting backgrounds we've ever seen. Talk about that. What's behind you that's looking at us?
Yeah. So the top of the picture is an elk I shot, I don't know, 15 years ago in Colorado. Crazy quick story behind that thing. So we were elk hunting for the first time ever, on a fair chase wild hunt, camping at timberline, which that's like where your oxygen stops basically, but timber stops growing and it's just grass from there on up the mountainside and rocks. And on the third day in, I shot this animal with a compound bow at 68 yards.
Wow.
Had an amazing hunt, and so it's one of my pride and joys. And then over my right shoulder, that's a whitetail from here in Kansas, and then there's several other creatures around the room, but this is our movie room, TV room downstairs. Lindsay makes me keep everything in the basement, so that's where I'm hanging out right now. But yeah, you said something cool, so I'm like, doesn't always have to be boats.
You still got one. Who is it? Bob Kaiser. I mean, he had driving suits and like his setup was
all
like,
the cool
holy shit, and trophy room. I think even earlier in the day, like Ray had to meet with his assistant that was setting the room up for him or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
all kinds of nostalgia,
Oh, it's so rad. I mean, it's literally downstairs in a basement, but it's all decked out, and it's just like miles of just like memorabilia, like walking through, and suits and helmets and flags and trophies and medals and pictures.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I've got boxes and boxes of jerseys. Missy was like, you need to have Tyler and you sign these, and we'll put them in like shadow boxes, and then we could, give them away or sell them to fans that would like to have them for their man cave. Because I got
up in Redhead,
a whole closet. Yeah, something like that. I mean, and then it was funny last year. It was Keely Billmeyer, actually. She set it up, but I was at a race and they were like giving me, like people at home were giving me like a video of like a hype video. And last time I moved, she had taken all of my old jerseys, whether it was, Naughty Marine stuff, and because it was like boxes and boxes of them. I kept like one of each or something. But, when you're on a crew, you might get 6 or 7. So then you got 6 more. And it's not like you want to throw them away. I don't know why. It's just you don't want to donate them because I don't know. But anyway, so they showed it. It was a funny video that they did, and it was like everybody that was on her dock had a different jersey on. She like, and it was like individually like, hey, good luck, Myrick, good luck. And it was like, and I was like, there's my shirt. There's my shirt. There's my shirt. It was a funny video. She's pretty
crazy.
Yeah. Funny
she's
story.
a pack rat, so she would literally. I was like, man, I got all these jerseys. She's like, I'll be over to pick them up. I'm not letting you throw that away.
Funny story about that. We were in Miami for the Miami Boat Show covering that, and me, Tommy, Tom Lee, my photographer, and Carter Body, my videographer, were in our rental, and I'm doing posts, and I see across Facebook Marketplace comes a speedboat jersey, and it's on sale for $15 on the Marketplace. I'm like, first of all, who donated? Because I only give them to team members, and I go, who donated their the speedboat jersey, and why is it only $15?
Like, I want that to be $150.
And it'd been on there for a while. I'm like, I can't believe it's not even moving. And Tom goes, oh, sorry. I did. It was too small for me. I'm like, oh, dude.
You should have said for the 15, just give it here and take it offline.
Yeah, so when we got back to town, he went and bought it back himself.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Well, I guess 15's better than 5 or 10, Ray.
Yeah, true. It's true.
Yeah.
Or free 99, as Craig would say.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.